The 2013 film Wolf of Wall Street, written by Martin Scorsese, negatively portrays women due to the repetition of misogynistic scenes. Now let's go to the plot. The story revolves around a white male named Jordan Belfort, who starts as a penny fund broker and makes his way up all the way to Wall Street. Throughout his business, there are many instances where women are seen as maybe sexual pleasures, hookers, or not good enough to be on the same level as men. For example, there's one part in the scene where there's a hooker in the elevator and there's a line of men waiting outside the elevator to have sexual pleasure with her during the actual work time. So if you see this scene, you may think as, oh yeah, the men has a lot of power in this situation and they're only using women for sexual pleasures. Another example in the film where there's a raise offer given to a woman and Jordan Belfort calls the whole company into one room, about 300 men just standing there watching the woman on the podium, and he gives her an offer. I'll give you a raise if you shave your head. Obviously the woman takes the offer and looks kind of surprised or scared to do it at first, but once she starts shaving her head, all the men in the room go crazy and start creating large party noises and going absolutely berserk over this stupid action of just shaving your head for a raise. This really perpetuates the stereotype about gender, because if you think about it this way, why wouldn't men do the same thing? Why couldn't men shave his head for a raise? And this is the one scene in the whole movie that I saw actually a woman getting a raise or even thinking about a raise. Most of the time it's either a woman's having sexual pleasure with a man during the hours. So if you look at this, it's kind of sexist to just blame or just put injustice towards women just for her to get a raise in money, and while the other guys laugh at her and make fun of her. So it's kind of putting down in circumstances. And another part in the scene, Jordan Belfort has to put his money into a bank illegally, so he can't do it in America, so he travels all the way to Europe, and during the hotel trying to go to the airport, he straps up maybe 100K of cash all over a woman's body and says, can you please transfer this money through the airport? And looking at this scene, it's kind of like sexist in a way to leave the woman for your money to strap it up all around her body like she's some type of object that is being used to transfer your money from one place to other. Why couldn't you strap your money around yourself? So if you look at this scene, you don't really understand what the woman's goals or woman's power in the circumstance is being kind of unmentioned and not examined enough, as the men who in the movie are making the money, getting all the women, and not having many women have a say in much in the business or in his lifestyle. Another example of it is where his wife realizes that this man is Jordan Belfort. His wife realizes that he's using her for sexual pleasure and decides to divorce him. And once she says that, he goes absolutely crazy. He starts throwing stuff at her, starts hitting her, saying, oh, I did this all for you and now you want to leave me. And just for her to say that statement and get all this abuse kind of really perpetuates the stereotype that women are just used as his object. His goal is just to have sexual pleasures. And women's goals or women's power in the circumstance is being kind of unmentioned and not examined enough, as the men who in the movie are making the money, getting all the women, and not having many women have a say in much in the business or in his lifestyle. I don't understand why women are not being able to stand up for themselves or being able to work in the workforce without having these crazy type of scenarios of shaving their head. It just really perpetuates the stereotype of how women are not greater than men or can't do even equally to men. And if you look at another film that I watched beside this film, Wolf of Wall Street, they talk about it's a movie called Hidden Figures, where it's about these three black women who try to force their way into getting a job in NASA and actually working with the men. At first, the men are like downing them and say, "Are you serious? There's no way you're gonna be working alongside with me." But they actually fight for what they believe in and actually reach the point where they're working side by side. And if you look at that film and compare it to a film like Wolf of Wall Street, where women are actually not even allowed to speak with the same like tone or same dignity to say, "No, I don't want to do this," or like work on the same level as men, you can see how these films take two different trajectories, and how in two different time periods that one, a woman fights for her rights into the workforce and works, which maybe challenges the stereotype of woman just staying home, and then Wolf of Wall Street, where the women are actually perpetuating the stereotype of just like not being able to be at the top or making the same money as the men.
Another lens to take a look at in the film is the class lens. The movie starts off by Jordan Belfort being a typical 9-to-5 worker with a loving wife. He then decides to work at a big stock firm and feels completely out of place, and it was a new environment for him. People were yelling on the phone, doing drugs to function and party. Jordan was very surprised and grew his way up humbly. After learning the trick of the trades from the two of the stock firms he worked at, he decided to make his own stock firm. Once this blew up and Jordan became really rich, we can see a huge shift in his lifestyle and his mannerisms. He leaves his wife and gets married to a model, sleeps with hookers every day. He starts abusing every drug in the book and going to parties. Although this lifestyle might sound great for some, it definitely didn't end up the way he wanted it to. Jordan's wife divorces him because of Jordan being in trouble with the law and the FBI, and takes his kids away from him. He has to constantly worry about the FBI tracking him and his illegal acts. Jordan Belfort said in an interview that although the lifestyle was great for some time, the lesson of the story was that don't let the money take the best of you and change you as a person. Even though he got the best looking wife, she eventually left him in the ditch when he was in a time of need. His old wife was always there for him and was loving. Jordan Belfort ended up spending several years in jail, and when he got out he decided to start fresh and create new ethical businesses and talk about his story with the world. Jordan was a born businessman, but he let the money take over, which eventually led to his downfall. So ultimately what we can see in the movie and novel is that Jordan started off humble, was an average man, but as he learned that he had a skill, he got addicted to the money. And his entire lifestyle changed and he became a completely new person.